We Serve Golf Tournament. Check-in is 11 a.m. on Thursday, June 20th at Sierra Laverne Country Club. Ontario Lions supports 7 local charities and 8 area projects. Dean Munoz is the golf tournament chair. Give him a call at 909-481-1180. That's 909-481-1180. Come on out and golf at Sierra Laverne Country Club on June 20th to support the Ontario host Lions. 909-481-1180.
KCAA.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the greatest real estate investment show ever. Here's the flip-flop investor himself, Todd Bayer.
Hey, everyone. How we doing out there today? This is the Flip-Flop Investor Show, and I am your host, Todd Bayer, the Flip-Flop Investor himself. Every week we get together, talk about real estate investing here in the Inland Empire, and I love that new intro for the KCAA thing. It was like a Jack FM kind of thing, you know. It was nice. I haven't heard that one yet. So for those of you that don't know what station you're listening to, this is KCAA, and this is the Flip-Flop Investor Show. Host Todd Bayer, all kinds of good stuff. Every week I like to get together with a local investor, or a local expert. Today we got an investor on our hands and a repeat offender. He's been on the show. I get this is number 6 for Mr. Thomas Chappelle. How you doing today, Thomas?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Doing fine. All right. That's it's such a I don't hear people say fine anymore. What's up with that? Is that a generational thing?
No, just that's how I feel today.
You just feel fine.
I feel fine.
See, like that's got a lot of connotations. Like there was a time where like you'd say a girl was fine, you know, but that meant she was really attractive.
Exactly.
So are you feeling attractive? Is that why you're feeling fine?
Oh, of course, all day.
All day. Okay. All right. Thomas, he's not short on confidence over here. That's good. That's good. Well, good. I'm glad you're feeling fine today. Okay, so Thomas, remind the folks out there who you are and what you do.
Thomas Chappelle. I've been doing this for, with trial and error almost 10 years.
I think it's always trial and error for everybody.
Yeah, but
myself included.
Investor, do everything in real estate. I mentor, but more of my mentor is more towards motivational speaking, and also I have a real estate investment club.
You do?
Yes.
What's that called?
It's called the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club.
All right.
Which is an extension of the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club.
It's our sister club, or sometimes we like to call it our brother club.
Exactly.
But it's been a pleasure having you guys around. I mean, because there was a gap, right? We noticed in the club because we got the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club group, and it's a good group and everything. But we'd get a lot of black folks showing up, and they would not stick around. They would come for like 1, maybe 2 meetings, and then they'd kind of leave. And because there's something missing from the community for them, that I don't know, we weren't retaining a large black audience. So, when you created the club, the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, now, there's a large group of black investors that are getting together in the Inland Empire, and now they're coming to the Inland Empire group, and now there's a good presence. There's a strong black presence now at the club, which is great.
Right.
It's something we were missing. It's like, what's going on in here? Like the room was looking pale, male, and stale, and we didn't, we know there's black investors. There's tons of them in the Inland Empire, but they weren't showing up on a regular basis. So,
you got to understand, you got the different demographics. And like I said, the biggest part is that when you go to a club that's predominantly white, a lot of people feel like they don't have the right criteria. Mm-hmm. They don't belong. So therefore it makes them feel like, why should I come back? I don't see anyone that looks like me, walks like me, and talks like me to give me the strategy to believe that I can actually physically do this.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to ask people for financial help or find out how would I be able to go by, would they invested in me or anything like that. So when you come together, the meeting of the minds of people that looking for the same thing you look at makes it easier. And then you actually bring them into the other circles, and they feel like they become a little bit more accepted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. In the culture we've created, I guess, within our own club. I mean, Steven, myself, we're the 2 organizers of the group. But we wear flip flops and shorts. That's why we got the name the Flip Flop Investors, right? But we dress like that. And I remember you kind of impressing upon Steven and myself that the way we look actually discourages black folks from coming because, here we are like, yes, we do lots of business in the real estate world, but they don't look at us that way. They look at us and say, these guys aren't serious. They, they're just playing around, having, goofing around, having a good time or something.
Because culturally, the way we was taught is that when we have to do business, we have to be dressed for other people to take us serious, and the thing of it is that, that is not true necessarily, because if you understand a millionaire or billionaire, they'll dress like a bum. They'll drive a raggedy car. They wouldn't even let you know that they have a lot of money until you follow them home and look at them going into their $1 million home.
Right.
But the thing of it is that you can't judge a book by its cover. You have to look at the interior instead of the exterior, and that's what I did when I first came to you guys, because I got to the point where I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, trying to do something and trying to be able to overcome a lot of my adversities in life. And I'm like, okay, I'm very serious. So when I first met you guys, I said, oh, these guys don't look like they know what they're talking about. But then as I started talking to you, I started to realize these guys got a lot of information to give out. So I got out of that attitude that, I'm looking at the exterior instead of the interior, which means I told you guys don't change a thing. Yeah. I said you guys look like a comedy show. You look like Lauren Hardy, but because y'all bounce ideas off each other, y'all really don't know who's going to do what.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to do this? Do you going to do I do it? No. And it's like, okay, but I tell them, stop looking at the exterior, look at the interior, because you are getting valuable information. It doesn't matter how it comes, just as long as you dissect what belongs to you, and then you take that and you formulate into your own, and you throw the rest of it away.
And I think that's the thing that a lot of people need, is that mental shift, right?
Exactly.
Because a lot of people are coming into this world where, we all we got raised up in a very similar way with public schooling and all that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of us had a very similar experience there, but our home lives were different. What we learned from our family is a very different thing. But we all have the same kind of thing with at least the way a successful person rises up the ranks, right? You go to school, then you go to college, then you get married, you have your 2.4 kids,
2.4.
You got your white picket fence and all that stuff. Like, that's the American dream, right? That everybody thinks about. So, it's hard for a lot of people to make that shift from that mentality on, to get a good job that has good benefits, like someplace you can retire, they'll have a good pension plan, like, to move from that mindset into, hey, maybe Social Security isn't actually a great program. Maybe I don't really want a pension plan because, in the last downturn, the economic downturn, people lost their entire pension plan because their entire pension administrator was making, poor decisions, and they invested in some crazy stock or mutual fund, and their pension plan went down 60% of its value, and now your pension is at risk, and you're not getting it anymore.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of people now that I see that there's like the writing on the wall. They see that maybe it's not up to maybe I need to take matters into my own hands instead of letting my employer and the government decide how my retirement's going to be played out. Maybe it's up to me now to make that thing happen, but a lot of people don't know how to do it, and they're still in that mindset.
But the hardest thing about that is because you have no one speaking life into you.
Yeah.
They sucking the life out of you. So you have these, as we call experts, gurus, and we say, oh, we have to pay for this stuff, and then a lot of us don't have that kind of resource. So therefore, since we don't have that kind of resource, we can't pay it because we're not hearing it from the expert. But the expert,
even so, even if you do have the money and the resources, it's still like, is this a snake oil salesman?
Exactly.
Am I just going to give some guy some money and he's going to run off with it, and I'm not going to get much useful information out of it?
But you got to want to believe in yourself, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
You don't believe in yourself, so therefore you don't think that you can be successful with what you're doing. So you stay in the rat race and continue to do what everybody else is doing.
Yep.
The one thing I learned since I've been here is that the two major books that were out there as far as real estate is concerned is The Richest Man in Babylon, as well as Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
And people misunderstand the title of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Like he said, my dad wasn't poor. It was just the fact that the system that he grew up in, which made him look poor. you know,
Right.
because he went to school, got all these degrees and whatnot, and still was just sliding by instead of being able to live comfortably.
Yeah, and he never bought any investment property or
Exactly.
any kind of investments for that matter. He just, in Rich Dad Poor Dad, his dad worked for, I think it was in Hawaii. He was like part of the university system.
Right.
His dad was a teacher. He's an educator. And he got paid well because he was, fairly high up. But,
Right.
enough to the point where he was living in an upper middle class sort of lifestyle. But,
Exactly.
it's still paycheck to paycheck, which is, I think a lot of people live that way.
And we do, because we were taught going to school economics and finance, but we don't understand that this world is built on debt. So we need to be in debt in order for this world to strive.
Right.
But the only problem is that we haven't been taught investments. The only way you've been taught investments is going through a broker.
Okay. Yeah.
And the broker is not doing nothing but messing over on your money. He's taking a big chunk and you're not getting anything. You got to wait till like 30 years before you can probably get your principal.
Right.
Because you're getting 0.5%, maybe 1%
Sure.
on a return instead of investing into something like a mom and pop business. And
Yeah, they
then
can't do that anyway.
Exactly. And then you can get a bigger return like 9, 10, 11, 12%.
Even more, yeah. I mean, there's you hear like a stockbroker can only get you into 2 investment vehicles, either stocks or mutual funds.
Exactly.
Like that's all they can get you into. You can't get you into oil. Like let's just say you think oil is going to go skyrocketing. You think, okay, it's going to go past $100 a barrel. Oil's real cheap right now. I want to buy a bunch of oil and watch it go up, and you can't do that through a stockbroker. You have to have a commodities trader, and you got to have a commodities account, and that's something you have to kind of control and direct. And there's some good money in commodities, but you can also lose a lot of money, because people always talk about things like pork bellies and precious metals, and that's not just gold and silver. It could be bronze, copper,
Exactly.
all kinds of stuff. You can invest in basically anything that can be bought and sold on the market. But the one thing that this huge world of alternative investments that are out there is basically where real estate lives.
Exactly.
So your stockbroker doesn't know anything about alternative investments other than what they're told to say, which is that it's risky.
That's true.
And then they'll point you back to the downturn in 2007 and say, yeah, look at what happened in 2007. Like all this bad stuff happened. Be like, well, what happened to the stock market in 2007, 2008? Did it not go down too?
Exactly.
Did a bunch of people not just lose the majority of their retirement savings? So I don't know. I'm obviously a big fan of the alternative investment side because that's where true wealth is built.
Yeah, well, see, the biggest thing for me is that you put your mind to anything you can accomplish. But in order to do that, you need to understand the language. That's all it takes is understanding language. Just like if I was able to speak a foreign language, a second language, third language, whatnot, then in order for somebody else to understand me, they got to also be able to speak that language.
Yep.
Otherwise, they can't communicate with me. So it really doesn't have to do so much as the education side of it. It's just understanding the language, how to be able to be around those people that speak in the same thing that you want to get into or that you're doing now to where it can be beneficial to everyone.
Yeah. So how does somebody go about making that mindset change? Because I know you were in the situation where you got, the 9 to 5, things are going, like they're supposed to, right? I mean, you got your degree, you did everything right.
Right.
Like how do you go from that to have, you got the whole world at your fingertips. Now you got a college degree, my friend. Like, how do you go from that to wanting to get into this?
Well, the thing is, I got to the point where I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
I watched how corporate America did my mother. You know what I'm saying? She was retired, but in her retirement, she wasn't making enough, so she had to go back to work like most older folks have to do.
How old was she when she had to go back?
She had retired at 40 years of age.
Okay, so she retired young.
Yeah, she retired young, but then, she brokered her money and she had to keep it in there for a while, but it didn't do her any good. So she went back to work. But then because she got older and she had 2 spinal surgeries, that corporate America said, we can't have you here. Because she lives in Vegas and she was working for one of the hotels, it was one of the oldest hotels that was still in Vegas. And the employee interest she couldn't go through because her equilibrium was off, so she had to utilize a walker to stabilize her walking. Because if she didn't, she would fall.
Right.
So she couldn't go through the employee's interest. So she had to go through the patron's interest. they didn't want that, so they let her go.
Wow.
So as I saw myself getting older, you know what I'm saying, and then I was out on workers' comp, it was like corporate America is not going to accept me back because now I'm a liability. Not only am I a liability, they can't determine a back injury. So, and I haven't worked in 5 years, so how am I going to go back? I can go be a greeter at Walmart, but Wally World's not going to give me enough to survive.
And you're not that nice.
No, I'm not that nice. So I had a choice. Either I sit back and do nothing, or I change my life. And I got to the point where I was ready. I sold out, and I said I gave it a shot, but I was too far in the ocean to swim back to shore, so I had to see what was on the other side.
Right.
And I kept pressing. So every time the hurdles came, instead of me tripping over or letting the doors close on me, I persevered through that. But I had a good supporting system.
True.
My family supported me. You know what I'm saying? Even though I felt bad because they was taking up all the slack, but it was worth it in the end because the success I got out of it, it benefited everybody.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I'm one of the few, that kept persevering.
But you put yourself in, I wouldn't say you put yourself, but you got in this situation where this was your only option. Like you said, it's like either try to swim back to shore and drown or keep heading this direction. Maybe you hit an island.
What made it easy for me is because the people I incorporated myself with, finding out that they had some of the same issues that I had. And I'm looking at them, which made it much easier for me to say, well, hell, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
I've said that dozens of times, but I quit in the process of it because it was like, this is too hard, and I could say, yeah, I had a mentor, so to speak, but I really had to mentor myself. I had to really challenge myself and say, hey, it's either one way or other. It's going to be two ways. Either I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to do it, I can't complain. I got to do something. When you raising kids, your kids are seeing you and you tell them to do as I say and not as I do, you got to mean that. Because they're going to challenge you when they get to a teenage age. And like, if you're doing it, then it should be okay for me to do it.
Right.
So if I'm telling you don't smoke, but I'm smoking, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
If I tell you don't drink, but I'm drinking, that don't make sense. So I should not get mad if you start doing that. But if I'm leading by example and then you see me not doing it, then there should be no reason for you to do it.
Right.
Don't care how much peer pressure you get, you should not want to do it because you have that structure.
Yep.
That your family gave you. So, yeah.
So you obviously everybody gets a lot of peer pressure from a lot of different angles, with stuff. And a lot of people that are in this business didn't have support from their family or from their friends.
Oh, definitely.
Because, you start going a different path, and people think you're leaving their community.
Well, because it's not tradition.
It's not, yeah.
It's not written in stone. If I had a contract saying that I'm supposed to make X, Y, Z, and it's not so much as that, it's like, well, I don't have that kind of money to help you out. So don't come here asking for money.
Right.
If you're going to do that, then do that. But don't come here asking for money if you're not able to do it. But you got to push everybody aside and you got to go into your own closet and you got to really dig deep down inside your soul and say, whatever God has for me, then that's what's for me. And I'm going to do it. So when I'm saying I'm too far in the ocean, then I got to trust. I have nothing else to trust. Like my first wholesale deal.
Yep.
I was supposed to get $5,000 for it. I got $2,500.
Which is better than nothing.
Right. But I was disappointed because I kept hearing, dude, you're going to get $5,000. Dude, you're going to get $5,000. So since you telling me that, I'm expecting that.
Yep.
But when I get 25, it was disappointing.
Sure.
But I had a choice. Either say, this is not the last time I'm going to see that kind of money, or get mad at everybody, cuss them out, and stop and never do it again, and
Right.
go back to my regular boring life, going to get a regular job and get mad and upset all the time. But now, since I was able to take that and say, this is not the last time I'm going to see that kind of money, it inspired me to keep going.
Right.
Which means it's like, I think I can. That thing we used to do in elementary.
the train, right?
Yes, that's what it was. It added more fuel to the engine, which made me kept going.
Yeah.
I didn't stop.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I had DeMarco Fletcher on like the other day. It was
Okay.
like 3 weeks ago or something. He was on the show, And we were talking a little bit about this because, I'm like, how do you find the people that have that drive, that are willing to just, get knocked down and get right back up again, dust themselves off and push forward even harder than they did last time. And he, what he told me was he looks for people that worked for like cell phone providers,
Right.
like the people in the mall that as you're walking by them, they're like, hey man, check out this new cell phone, like that guy. He says he hires people like that a lot because they got something about that personality. They're really good salespeople and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, but what's hard for a lot of people is, they're like already in their 40s or 50s and they're thinking like, I've been working for the same company for X number of years and I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of it now and I'm ready to move on and I want to get into real estate. I've seen the shows on TV. I think I can do that. It's like the mindset change that they need to have. Like that's where I have a hard time because I was never in that situation.
Well, see, to me, since I play sports, it's like being organized. And the thing of it is that you have to know your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like let's go with basketball since we're in the playoff season right now. Is that you have to have your dream team. You have to build around, know your strengths. I know that I'm not a good reader and I know that I'm not a good writer. So as far as me trying to put things on paper, that's not my strength.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find somebody that's stronger in that area,
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say that I'm not the best shooter in the world. Okay, well, we got to get another shooter, get a point guard or shooting guard. I have to find those who can help me exponentially. That's why the founder, when you told me about it, was a very profound thing to me because when I first looked at it with my son, I said,
that's that movie with
Right.
Michael Keaton,
Exactly.
as Ray Kroc, the McDonald's story, basically.
the first 5 minutes of that movie, that's me.
Yeah.
That's it. I was able to relate to that.
We were all there at one point.
And I'm like, he didn't quit. And the only thing he had was the gift of gab. He could sell his behind off, But everybody else that was in his inner circle, his friends and his wife, they kept stopped believing in him because he's like, everything he did, it wasn't always gold.
Yeah. Well, because remember in the movie, like right in the beginning too, he mortgaged his home.
Exactly.
Without his wife's knowledge.
Exactly.
And she ends up leaving him as a result. Probably not just because of that. I'm sure there's a much deeper story there, but
I didn't see it that way.
okay, but she ends up leaving him. But the thing is, you look at it from Ray Kroc's perspective, that was a blessing in disguise. Like,
Exactly.
she wasn't prepared to take on that level of,
She wasn't supportive enough.
nope. She wasn't part of the new community that he's found himself a part of, which he created. I mean,
And the thing is, he allowed some guy to say, hey, I can show you a better way. Mm-hmm. Now, he was a little skeptical, but eventually he listened to the guy. And the guy said, instead of you worried about doing the building, on the land
yep.
and lease the land. That's it.
Yep.
You have somebody that comes to you as part of your dream team and say, okay, well, here's your strength, and you have to accept your weaknesses as well as your strength. You can't always shine. There's no I in team. So, in other words, you got to have a whole community of people, and this is why we have these clubs. Mm-hmm. We're not selling no tapes, no videos, no books, no boot camps.
Nope.
We don't want your money.
I'm selling you access to a community.
Exactly.
And
That's
it's
all.
stuff that doesn't cost much.
But time and gas.
Yep.
That's
Pretty
all
much.
you're paying for is time and gas.
And basically the cost of the room spread
Exactly.
out over everybody. I mean,
we're not making money off this. You know
man,
what I'm saying?
I wish we were kind of in a way, but no.
Sometimes we don't even break even paying,
Yeah,
getting these rooms.
Exactly. We got to come out of pocket. And
Exactly.
I happily do it because this is my community too.
Exactly. So, when you got people like that and you can sit back and watch them become successful, now they're your billboard, they're your advertisers. You can say back, say, damn. It's just like raising your kid. You see the best out of your kid and your kid is successful. It's like, I had a hand in that. Mm-hmm. They shining. They outdoing me. That's what you want in life. So you want the accolades, but you also want to be able to feel good at what you do, giving value to somebody as they give value to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of it is, really there's a lot of fear in people that are trying to move on from what they've been doing and been going down this certain path. There's that fear of I'm leaving because you have to basically abandon your old community and make your way into a new community, which would be like the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club or the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. You got to become an active member of this other community now because we're here for your success.
Exactly.
We're the people that are part of your group that are saying you can do it, and here's how. Let me help you. Let me show you a way. None of us are going to sit here and say no. You can't do that. That's not gonna. None of us are gonna say, "Don't come knocking at my door for money." We're all gonna say, "Come knock to my, please come to me for money." Don't.
But
go to
the
him,
biggest thing is that what? Look at it from this perspective. It's not so much as you helping them; they helping themselves because they got to be able to take that step, that leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to try to trust people.
It is
because you feel like you've been let down, you've been taken advantage of. But I got a story for you. You ain't the only one. We've all had situations where we done some things that we shouldn't have done, or we did it the wrong way. But the only person there that's for you, if you truly believe, is Jesus Christ himself. I tell people, you've been giving a personal invitation by him to sit at a never-ending table to feast. Only problem is we don't stay at the table because we see people that don't look like us, and it has nothing to do with skin color. All it has to do is basically you feel like you're the only person at that table that's gotten issues. Yeah. And everybody around you have issues. People across on the sides, we all got issues, but they don't look like they have issues because they stayed at the table and they feast. Once you stay, then you'll realize you never had issues in the first place.
Yeah.
You just didn't try. And that's all. Nike got the best slogan, just do it.
Right.
That's all you have. You tell your children to do it, and they're a carbon copy of you. So if they're a carbon copy of you, then why don't you do it and become that example?
Yep.
Why be afraid?
It's it's a fear. It's that fear that people have. It's fear of leaving their community. I mean, community's strong. People have that. It's you see it in church. You see it in just family units. Like where it's like that's the central part of their existence is this community they're a part of. And in some cases, those communities are what's holding you back.
But then we got to look at communities outside of different cultures in third world countries. A lot of them come over here to get their education. They go back and take it back home. Why can't you do that?
Yep.
You go get yours, and then you take it back, and you help your fellow man come out the hole that they're in.
And it's tough, man, because I've been in that situation. I had a community of friends I grew up with, and like most of them were kind of like misfits at this point. A lot of them don't really have a decent job even to their names. Like if I would have continued down that path, I would have I'd probably still be in that same situation with them, just kind of working odd jobs, working at like little places that would hire me for minimum wage and just keep doing that sort of thing. But
and see, in my culture, people call me a sellout.
Yeah.
Because, you're not doing the normal things that we would be doing. No, I just wanted a better way for my life, for my family, to give them something to go for. I don't want to be a celebrity. I don't want to be famous because everybody tries to pull you down from the mountaintop. I just want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I give people the thing is like, how much money would it take for you to live comfortably?
Yeah.
A lot of people can't answer because no one's never asked them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And when I mean comfortably, I don't mean making sure all my bills are paid. Your needs are always going to be supplied. I'm talking about comfortable that you can call the airline, make a reservation while you in the car, drive yourself to the airport, don't pack a bag, get over there and buy what you need. Yep. And then if you decide to go somewhere else, leave that stuff there and go there and go buy what you need when you get to the next place. That's what comfortable for me is. Everybody's comfortability is different.
Yeah. You want the ability to travel, and now you don't have to worry about packing a bag.
Exactly.
Just show up and buy what you need when you get there.
Exactly.
Show up with the clothes on your back and hop on a plane.
That's easy because we throw so much food away in this country. It's ridiculous. So why do I have to? I can take my clothing and I can give it to somebody else that's in need and go buy it. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody else or that I think I am, but no, it's just the fact is that's to me what comfortable is. I don't have to be worried about taking care of myself. You build a nice system in this industry, especially real estate or whatever you're doing, you got a system, it take care of itself. All you got to do is just monitor it every once in a while.
It's funny, like, Peter Fortunato, right?
Correct.
Okay, so Peter Fortunato used to, like, go to, like, his kids' school, and he would teach, like, the kids how to make money. And the first question he would start off with, he would ask the kids, who here wants to be rich? Of course, every kid's probably going to raise their hand because
Exactly.
we live in a material world, right? We were just talking about Madonna on the way over here.
Exactly.
We live in a material world. But so every kid raised their hand. They all want to be rich. So then he asked them, how can you become rich, right? That's the second question. And a lot of the kids would say stuff like, be an actor or, be a sports star, play baseball, football, basketball, like one of those things, or, be a performing artist, like a musician. Like these are the ways they're thinking to be rich. Not a single kid in there would ever say, be a business owner or, own a bunch of real estate. No kids in there saying that.
Exactly. Because we don't teach our kids that.
No. And that's what he would show up for, is to teach them the way that you could really, because you tried to go down the road of being a professional athlete, right?
Yes, I did.
So you went pretty far with it.
Yeah, I went to arena football. Yeah, I did.
Arena football's, that's where Kurt Warner got drafted out of, for the Rams. He went to
Yeah,
the Super Bowl.
I don't want to hear about Kurt
You don't
Warner.
want to hear about Kurt Warner no more? Okay. What, he tackle you or something?
No, he was just a bum that got lucky for me. That's all.
Oh, is that what happened? Yeah, he's just a Super Bowl winning bum. Yeah, that old guy.
Yeah,
You're
I'm a little salty about
You're not
that.
selling me on that one. But that's for most people, that would be further than most people would get pursuing, because every high school has got a football team.
Right.
How many of those kids are making it to arena football, let alone college ball?
Well, it's like I said, I got a front page of the newspaper, and I didn't even know I did. Somebody that I knew called me and told me that you got front page. I went to a tryout camp and didn't even know it. I didn't know it. There was like 75, 100 people there, and I had to pay. At that time, it was $95.
Jeez.
And I just did what I did. Yeah, I showed out because I am cocky and arrogant. I like the sound of my own voice. People say I'm opinionated. I take that. But,
Right.
yeah, I just put my cockiness on and made a lot of noise. And some way, somehow, I got front page of the local newspaper.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. But, it's like I said, the thing is that, you have to make choices in your life. Like I tell my son, you're not going to school to go to college to get a job. You're going to school to start your own business. That's the way I'm teaching him.
Yep.
So whether he goes that route or not, at least I implanted that in his head. And by him being around me in this industry, he knows that if he starts his own business, company go belly up, or if he goes works for somebody and he get fired, he know he got this to fall back on.
Yeah.
Because he understands how this works.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's what you got to inbreed into not only yourself, but into your lineage.
Yeah.
You
So,
know?
and that's what Peter Fortunato is trying to do when he goes to these schools. He's trying to teach the kids another way. And his whole method was he would have them start up a landscaping business or a yard cutting,
Right.
grass cutting business. And he would say, now you don't have a lawnmower because you're 8 years old. So instead you got a pair of scissors. That's how you are going to start your landscaping, your lawn mowing business. That's what you got. You got some scissors. How long is it going to take to mow my yard? With a pair of scissors,
Right.
and kids will start throwing, I could do it in, 8 hours, and all this stuff. So he's like,
Right.
okay, and I'm going to pay you $20 to mow my lawn, so every week it's going to take you 8 hours. You're going to make $20, that's how it's going to work. But,
Right.
After you do it for some time, now you can upgrade to like some garden shears,
Right,
those big ones,
exactly.
that'll cut your time in like, a quarter. You could do, instead of 8 hours, you're going to do it in 2 hours now.
Correct.
With these garden shears. And then after a little while, you're making the $20. Still, you're going to upgrade. You're going to buy your first push mower, Now you're getting the yard done in 30 minutes. And now, after a while, you're starting to, now you can take on a few more yards in the day. You can do my neighbors' houses too. And they're all going to
Exactly.
pay you $20, So like he starts explaining to them how a business could start. And something like a lawn mowing business is really easy for a kid to understand. A lot of parents make their kids, mow the
Cut
lawn
grass.
anyway.
Because I had to use that back in the day. Yeah, I did have to do that.
Yep.
But I hated it.
And it's funny because like these kids start thinking, he's like, okay, so now you've got a lawnmower, but now you're capped out. You've got 8 hours in the day to mow a lawn, and you can hit 16 lawns in a day now because of your new riding mower you've just purchased.
Exactly.
You're hitting 16, but that's it. You can't go any higher than that. So your income's now capped. So what do? You go buy another riding lawnmower and you hire somebody to drive that mower on 16 new lawns, and you're paying them a certain wage. And now your lawnmower's out there making you money,
See, they used to do that back in schools, but they got rid of all that because we talking about we got to cut funding on this, that, and the other. No, it's just that that was a way to keep us. They told us the American dream was to have a house with land on it.
Yeah.
You give your leverage because you got equity in your house. But what happens is that because we don't teach you how to get out of debt, You turn around, you go out there, start spending this money. That's why they give you cars at the age of 18.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know you're going to screw it up.
Yep.
You know? And the thing of it is that you get cars at age 18. Now you got into that rat race. You trying to get by working your little job, and it's not getting you nowhere.
Yep.
Then what happens is you want to consolidate your debt. What you going to do? You get a house, you're going to turn around, you're going to take a mortgage out on it.
Mm-hmm.
So now once you done paid off everything, now you have no leverage.
Yep.
You have no house. You're going to lose it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's
and don't have nothing to show for it.
That's what the average, and not even just American citizen. This is a worldwide thing. With the exception of some countries in the world that are not part of like the Federal Reserve System, basically.
Right.
The International Monetary Fund. Like you have every single citizen that's underneath the IMF is basically a debt slave. Like our job is to work to pay off our debt.
Exactly.
And we're just constantly paying interest on debt.
On top of interest.
Yep.
And it's getting higher and higher. The interest rates are getting higher. I've seen one that said 99. I'm like, 99 interest rate? Wow.
Yep. Yeah, those are on like those payday advance type
Exactly.
things. Yep.
So they keeping you in bondage, and you're never going to get out the rat race. That's why the game cash flow is so important. I mean, Monopoly started it off, but cash flow is an upscale of Monopoly.
Yeah, well, it's definitely intended for people that are creative real estate investor-minded people. Like to teach people how to actually invest in real estate, because Monopoly was kind of a game, and there's some basic principles.
Exactly.
There's supposed to be a negotiation in Monopoly, but nobody plays that
Exactly.
way.
Because you're supposed to be able to trade property for property.
Yeah.
Say just like that's a good segue for me, because I do a thing called barter trading in Vegas. We go to Vegas every 90 to 180 days, and it's called Trade My Stuff. It's a private club, and they trade everything. Mm-hmm. Anything from hearing aids, mattress, everything. Is whether it's value or not, they don't care.
And you made a good trade there the other day.
Exactly. But the thing of it is, they got me into Bitcoin. I didn't know anything about Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So now I'm into Bitcoin, but it's not Bitcoin, it's Troptions. Troptions is a little different from Bitcoin. Where Troptions, you can use, you can buy things with Troptions, mm-hmm. Versus Bitcoin, trading coin for coin and cashing it out. You can buy things for Troptions. That's the big beauty thing about it. It's like doing real estate. But then there's another thing they do. It's called Dazzle Coin. Basically, it's replicas of upscale portraits. And you can trade the portraits for portraits, or you can cash them out. These portraits are like $35,000, $42,000, $25,000. These are some, upscale portraits. And I didn't know that, to be honest with you, I didn't know that portraits were real money. Yeah. I thought it was just something to have. Yeah, people collect portraits, and there's a lot of value in portraits.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the art world. I mean, you hear about some up and coming artist, and he's selling paintings for $1 million, which, for a lot of like the old style artists, they didn't get that kind of money while they were alive. Like that kind of money came in after they were dead.
But see, there's a lot of creative things out there that we're not subject to, and that's one thing I say about in the minority culture. There's so many things going on that we didn't stay at the table to find out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we would have stayed at the table, we would realize, there's a lot of different ways that we can be able to build on our capital besides working a 9 to 5.
It's it's that community thing. It goes
Exactly.
back to like there's a whole art community out there. I'm not a part of it. I don't. Are you a part of it?
I'm getting there.
You're getting into it.
I'm getting to it.
You're getting to the art community.
I'm dead bedazzle coin, man.
You're my segue in there. When I want to get in, I'm going to go through Thomas.
Yeah.
Thomas, which art functions do I need to go to?
I mean,
want to get in.
It's just like at the museums. A lot of the arts at the museums, they're lent out to the museums from art collectors.
Right.
I didn't know that. So It's like it's a whole new world that I'm being introduced to, because I'm not limited to myself. I don't have that slavery broke man mentality anymore. I've opened my mind to a lot of different possibilities. So some people can say, yeah, you're a sellout, or they can just say you're very smart and creative in your finances. You got to be more than a one post horny. You know what I'm saying?
What?
One horse pony. That's what I'm trying to say.
A one trick pony?
Yeah, one trick pony. There you go.
A one horse pony.
But you got to be very creative, and a lot of people don't know how to be creative because they're afraid of the unknown. You can't be afraid of the unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is out. The wheel has been created. You can't reinvent the wheel, but you can dang sure enhance it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it.
Put some rubber on it.
Exactly. So you just got to be creative, and everything that I'm doing now has opened up a lot of doors for the creations that I'm doing.
It's funny because until people, you've probably met tons of people in your life that said like somebody should invent the right?
Exactly.
Something, and it fills a need, but they don't know how to do it themselves.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, that's a great idea. You should invent that. You should do that. They're like, oh, I wouldn't know how to do it anyway.
But see, now you have the internet, YouTube's got a lot of tutorials out there. It might be, like I tell my son, it might not be the exact thing that you're looking for, but at least it gives you a shot to be creative from that.
Yeah.
It gives you a portal to say, okay, I can take that and I can tweak it a little bit and I can make it my own and make it better.
Right.
You're
like,
that missing piece that they need.
Like there's a guy at some point, all cars had a manual transmission, right? And some guy who was really mechanically minded, he figured out a way to make an automatic transmission for a vehicle, and it would shift much smoother, it'd be quite a bit more efficient and all that stuff. So like something like that happened. What blows my mind now is that like that's mechanical. Mechanical is like it's a foundational sort of thing. Like it either works or it doesn't. But now you have like all this digital stuff.
Exactly.
And anything's possible. But these kids out there, there's kids on YouTube learning how to do like advanced robotics.
That's what you need to do.
That blows my mind.
Instead of see, I'm not. I got to get into it. I'm not good at this. I'm not a social media buff.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not ready there yet, but I'm gonna have to, because that is another portal, because everybody uses it as a platform to get whatever they want out there.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And we was listening to the guy last week, how he has grown his business through social media, Instagram.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand the mechanics of it,
right?
But it's working for somebody. So I got to tap into it, just like the guy who created the Tesla.
Yeah.
He only made so many cars, and look at everybody you've seen around California got Teslas now.
Yep.
It's like, wow, that's crazy.
I know.
Like
he took over, a segment of the market. And it's not like electric cars were new.
Exactly.
They had like the Nissan Leaf that was out years before Tesla came out.
And he don't even create the car anymore. It's done. It's out of promotion. I'm out of production. And he's still a major player in the game.
Yep.
You just got to be creative.
Of course, and find a need that needs to be filled. But for me, like the needs are easy. There's the food, water, shelter, right? I mean, food's tough because I'm not a farmer or anything, Water, I think that's pretty much controlled by like the government at this point, but shelter, that's real estate right
exactly.
there. You don't need stocks. Nobody needs a mutual fund. People need a place to live though.
Well, see, this is the thing we was talking about coming up here, where I said I wouldn't want a house to live in anymore.
Yeah.
I make more money selling a house than I would buying a house and living in it. I mean, yeah, you get equity out of it, but the fact is that you can take a house, fix it up, upgrade it, and then put it back on the market and resell it.
Yep.
If you do several of those in a year's time, you can become a millionaire. You just can't be a millionaire off of one deal.
No.
It takes more than one deal.
Yeah, if it's a big deal, you can do it.
Well, exactly. How many times you going to find a needle in a haystack?
Right.
So you got to start off small. And like most of us coming into this business, we started off wholesaling because we didn't understand the industry.
Yep.
So it's easy because we drive around all day long. Not only we drive around all day long, we have family members and friends that can say, hey, I drove this way and I saw this house. You know what I'm saying? Or instead of going the same way every day, go a different route.
Right.
Find different ways of getting to where you're trying to go to. If you got a 9-to-5 you go to every day, just don't go the same way. And then you won't get bored. You can make it exciting because you say, I didn't know this was here. When did they put that there?
Yeah.
You start to learn your surroundings by going different ways instead of the same way all the time. Getting out the rat race.
Yep.
Yeah,
literally by taking a different path home from work every day, is you getting off of the rat race.
Exactly.
Everybody else is sitting on the freeway with you right now. They're all going the same way. They're all heading home. That's the rat race right there.
You're pissed off because you in traffic, smelling the smog, and you can't enjoy yourself because you ready to get out your work clothes and you're ready to relax and go have fun, and you sitting in traffic for 2-3 hours.
Yep. I'd say just get off on the next exit, and go drive into some neighborhoods out there.
Exactly.
Go look at the houses. Go find the ones that still have those wooden garage doors, with the spring open.
Exactly.
And the wood roofs. Those are the homes that need some work.
Yes.
Get in touch with that owner. Find out if they're interested in selling that piece of property because, you put a new roof on that thing, the new roll-up garage doors on there, put some, nice landscaping out front, do some stuff inside the home. You can make a lot of money doing that stuff.
And if you're wholesaling, the thing is that you don't have to worry about doing all that. All you do is find your buyer. They give you a buyers for you. Go home and get your money.
Yeah, you can do that too.
And you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to do this and that. That comes down the road, but it gives you an opportunity to understand how to assess and evaluate a property.
Yeah.
How to come up with the numbers so you can make that extra money when you start to flip.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Or if you want to buy and hold, keep it as rental property.
The fact is, real estate's simple. And people just make it complicated.
Exactly.
It's not that difficult. It pays to sort of stay dumb. Just to don't try to overcomplicate it. It's real simple. You're buying a house for cheap, doing some work on it. It becomes worth more because it's a nicer home, and you're selling it for more.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to, but you don't have to fake that. That's pretty basic.
It's easy.
I'm taking a piece. Think of it like this: you found a bicycle on the side of the road that was in tough shape. It's missing a chain. The handlebars are all bent. You take it back to your house. You straighten out the handlebars, put a chain on it. Maybe throw some paint on it.
Good as new.
Looks pretty good to me. Throw some oil on there.
And then people start asking, "Where'd you get that at? Do you want to sell that?"
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you can make money off of it.
Yeah, you're selling a bike for $100.
Exactly.
You found it on the side of the road, and spent 2 hours of a day one day fixing it up.
Exactly.
I mean, you can do it. You can do it on anything. It doesn't have to be a house. There's a lot of guys I know that still do this with cars. They'll buy a piece of junk car, do what they need to do to get it running again, and then sell it off for pretty cheap.
Exactly.
You can buy a decent car that'll run for a little while for $1,000.
Anything you put your mind to, you can do it. And if you feel discouraged, get you a community around you of supporters. That's why we have these clubs. Mm-hmm. These clubs are to give you that support system so you can believe that you can do it. Like I said, anything you put your mind to it, it's up to you. You have to make that decision.
Yep.
Are you going to stay at the table or are you going to get up and walk away?
Exactly. And we're here to help. We'll help you with the problems you run into, but what we're not going to do
is do it for you.
Take it by the hand and do it for you. No. That's if I'm going to do all that, it's my deal, not yours. Thanks for coming along for the ride. It was nice having you here as company, but you don't get anything in the deal if you didn't do anything on the deal.
And the biggest thing is you don't understand is that if you haven't figured it out by now, Todd and majority of everybody at this club that's mentors or whatever, we like the sound of our own voice. We'll talk all day long.
Yeah, I love this business,
when you like something that you like, you don't have a problem talking about it.
Yep.
You can have any conversation on anything you enjoy and talk for hours. And next thing you know, you look up, it's 6 hours later. Man, it's late. I was supposed to be in the wife gonna be mad, but she already knows you doing what you love doing.
Yep. Yeah, it's always amazing to my wife when we go to a wedding or some kind of a social function that's outside of my world.
Right.
Nobody there knows what I do. I don't wear my flip-flop investor T-shirt to a wedding. So eventually though it comes up. You're sitting at the
I'm
table.
doing that. I'm promoting everywhere I go.
Well, eventually somebody's gonna at the table be like, "What do you do for a living?" I'm
Exactly.
like, "Oh, I thought you'd never ask. This was so boring up until now." And then I go on for 2 hours.
Exactly.
But everybody's heard of it. Everybody knows what flipping a house is.
Yeah, you've seen the TV programs. You're like, oh, that looks easy. I could do that. And they tell you, okay, you can make $250,000. But the problem is they give you the romantic side of the struggle. They don't show you where all that money's allocated once it's all over.
Right.
Because that money goes a lot of places. So you might walk out of there with maybe 15 to 50K depending on the property.
Yeah, and that's that's just a simple math formula that people have to learn. You got to learn the simple math formula on how to buy a property and not lose money, and you have to learn the proper way to evaluate a house to find out what it's worth.
Exactly.
Those are the two things you need to learn. They're not that complicated, but a lot of people I don't know. People make up these weird rules in their minds, and it's not complicated.
Math is math. As long as you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, it's the same.
Yep.
It doesn't change.
And that's why in the club we created the Let's Make a Deal meetup. So we started out, we were doing just the one main monthly meeting. That's what we did that. We started that in September 2014 is when we started the club, and we just had the one meeting a month on the fourth Wednesday at the Mission Inn, right? We started that, and we still do that, and it's going great. It's huge now, in fact, but...
Yeah, 5,500 members?
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's 4,800 members,
Okay.
but it's, give us a couple months. We'll be at
Exactly.
5,500, But the reason we started up different meetups because originally we started this other one, a Saturday morning thing. We called it the book club.
Right.
The idea was that at the main monthly meeting, we'd assign a book to read. So we'd all go read, Building Wealth One House at a Time by John Schaub or something. We'd all go read that book, and we're supposed to come back the Saturday before the next meeting and have some coffee and talk about the book.
Right.
But Steven, myself, and a couple other people would read the book, and everybody else would just come and sit around and listen to us. So we're like, forget all you people. After a little while of doing it, we just said, we'll just make this a networking thing. So we do that. We do that the Saturday before the monthly meeting. We have the coffee meetup, which is big. There's tons of people that show up to that now. I think we had about 75 people last month. And that's a good meetup. We can meet some really good contacts at that one because not everybody can come during the week on a Wednesday. They can come out on a Saturday, though, because they're not at their job. So we meet a lot of the good people that are trying to get into the business and trying to find a way to do it where they don't have to use so much of their time, but maybe they have a little bit of capital they can put to work. So you can joint venture with some of these folks.
Exactly.
But then we created this, the cash flow game, and you mentioned it earlier, cash flow, because you want to learn how to actually do creative deals. All of our creative deal makers go to that club, that meetup, and that was last night. So if you missed it, don't worry, we'll do it again on the first Wednesday next month. But the cash flow games, it's fun, plus it's at a pizza place, at the Round Table Clubhouse in Highland. So we get pizza and, chicken wings and stuff like that. And they got a bar there if you want to have a beer or something. And it's fun. We just have a good time with that one. It's a board game. It's fun. And then we got the Let's Make a Deal meetup. So we do that one, which is next Wednesday.
Right.
Next Wednesday is the Let's Make a Deal because we wanted to show people how we look at deals. So like me and Ryan Raven, we get up there in the front and we evaluate deals right in front of the whole crowd. And these are crowd submitted deals. So these are deals that are actually happening right now, that are available in a lot of cases to invest in, to buy, whatever. And so we do them right in front of the room live. We don't know what we're looking at when we go there until we see these deals. So you see how we actually look at them. I think it's probably one of the best meetups we have.
Well, the biggest thing is that the reason for the clubs is that instead of doing them once a month, when you got new people coming in, they got questions. And if they can't get their questions answered, they'll give up. So waiting a whole month. So this is why you have all these clubs, and this is why my club became an extension of theirs, because we want to give everybody a platform to showcase their talents, no matter what walk of life they're coming from. So my club is the third Wednesday of the month, and we're at the Mission Inn now, and it's growing every week, every month. It's always growing. So we are part of all this big old community of different clubs and different avenues that you have to access every month. And it doesn't mean that we're the only clubs out there, but if you really want to get the meat and getting what you're trying to get, come to these clubs. You'll get a whole lot out of them. You have the Let's Make a Deal. You have my club. You have the big club, Saturday morning coffee, cash flow. Remember when you guys used to do bar night, Friday night?
Yeah, the happy hour.
The happy hour, the karaoke, all that. So we finding creative ways to give you that platform, not only to be comfortable in your skin, but also being able to get the things that you need, talking to people that's doing it, trying to do it, whatever, and you get everything you need, and all it costs you is just the space, your gas, your time, and you get to meet a lot of folks, and you really enjoy it.
And there's nothing wrong with having a little fun with the people that are on our community too. That's kind of the point of it too. Who do you have for your guest?
My guest is Andy Teasley, which is the Wizard of Wobbly Boxes. If you want to know how to buy mobile homes, he's the guy. He also buys and sells notes. He also teaches the financial calculator. So the 15th of this month is going to be at the Mission Inn at the Renaissance Salon.
Yep, that's up on the
third
floor. Yeah, so it's up there. It's a good room. We've done a couple of events in there, the Let's Make a Deal meetup. But if anybody out there is interested in becoming a real estate investor, or if you already are a real estate investor or a realtor, somebody tied to the real estate world, come to our clubs. You can go to meetup.com, look up the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club or the Black Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club, and join the meetup group. It's free to join. It doesn't cost you anything. You can join the group and then start coming out to some of these meetings, start getting to know people. Thomas and I are there pretty much at every single one of them,
Yes.
along with a bunch of other people. So, come on down anytime you guys want, and go to meetup.com. I guess that's time. Thanks, Thomas, for showing
you.
up. We'll see you all again next week. Have a good week, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.